Warning, the video you're about to see for YouTube disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Greetings ladies and gentlemen, I see you're interested in the surreal side of the gaming world and seeking something more from your games. So let's deep dive into the world of surreal games and let's see what hides in the deep water. Be prepared to see thought-provoking games that give you a whole new perspective on the world around you. You will also see special projects where people put their heart and soul to show you the bad sides of war, or perhaps you're just searching for some crazy and abstract walking simulators. Well, the layer 6 of the weird and surreal Iceberg chart has this and many more to offer, so don't worry. Also, if you know about some good surreal games that aren't included on the list, tell me down below so I can make an extra layer with your wishes. Now make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or a cold beer, and let's dive into the world of surreal gaming. There is one thing I will beg you to do before we start, and that's to like the video if you find it interesting and consider subscribing. It would really help the channel a lot and give me an indication that you are enjoying my videos. If you want to help the channel even a bit more and enjoy perks like getting the video early or having your name in the credits, you can check out my membership program or my Patreon, which is only optional. And just one more short thing before we start. Thank you for tuning in and I hope you will enjoy this video. (78641). So let's kick this layer off with a point-and-click adventure game released back in 2009. It was developed by a few talented people, among them was the lead programmer Jesse Kernowitz. The graphics are quite good, we can't deny that. The game has that 16-bit SNES style, but they will change a few times in the game. Music is also top-notch, it features a very cheerful and funky tune. Now to the story, and oh boy. Now you saw that you are a frying pan, so you can see the game is set in a wacky world. But can you guess how the frying pan is earning his money? We can say he earns his money the hard way, because he's selling, well, how to say it to avoid YouTube's attention. Let's say pleasure devices which do look like fire extinguishers, only smaller. Well, it's a weird and wacky game with a humor that can be dark and out of place for some, just as a small warning. Dwemer of the Drill-Faced Goddess. So what has the second entry on this layer prepared for us? It's a game that was made for Retromania in 10 days. The game is a visual novel inspired by Lovecraft, a writer who was inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. Do you know which gift Lovecraft left for the humanity? Well, it was actually a novel called The Call of Cthulhu. Maybe some of you heard about it somewhere. The artwork in the game is done in shades of red and green and it's very unique looking. The game begins with your character standing before a cave, driven by a dream about an artifact called Hecabone. The cave, however, causes discomfort and pain when looked at directly. You can choose to leave, leading to a winning outcome, but with a sense of loss. To not spoil too much, the game does feel a bit rushed sometimes. But if you dig the vibe of the game and what's going on, it's worth checking out. Find me a good one. We are really switching things up here. The next game on the list is a surreal puzzle platformer. Your mission is to seek out, communicate with and guide dream characters to reunite with his brother. Together you protect him from the nightmares lurking in his bedroom. Get ready for a unique dreamlike adventure. The game was made by Andy Makes and it definitely leans on the surreal side, but it's quite nice and a calming game.
Where they cremate the roadkill.
From a quite nice and calming game to one in which the title is already weird as hell. It was released by Gunseed Collab in 2017. With a very short and morbid description. Death is a dream. To get the most important question out of the way, is this game surreal? Definitely, the art style and the presentation is nailed down with the ambient music, and it's definitely something you don't see every day in games. But is this a good game? Well, even the creator of the Iceberg stated it's his absolute favorite. After digging a bit, I found very mixed reviews about the game, mostly because it's really hard to understand what's going on, it has some grammar errors, and the gameplay is a bit underdeveloped, and there are some weird dialogue choices. But don't skip on this game just because of few bad reviews. Many of these games on the list are adventures you need to try out for yourself. Ghost 94. This entry is a post-apocalyptic stealth game. Now sadly I didn't find any download on the page, or I was truly blind. I tried to find something besides the info on the page provided through the Iceberg, but sadly no luck. It has only a few reviews of the game, so perhaps this game maybe is a lost game? So I will combine the text I found on the page. Now the game is a 3D stealth game that takes place in a big post-apocalyptic dystopian Japanese city, patrolled by ninjas like soldiers and heavily armed robots. The game possesses the late 90s inspired combinations of 2D sprites in which you're walking around a low poly 3D world with low resolution pixel art textures. To the next one please. Void Pyramid. This game was made by Willy Electrics. Void Pyramid is a post-apocalyptic RPG set in a space-like Egyptian empire. The game is set in the far future, where the mechanical prime Pharaoh rules the wasteland of the earth, and anyone who opposes him is exiled to the Void Pyramid. This outer space prison is populated by criminals, beasts and mutants. No one has ever escaped, but you must try. It's a very nice game with cool looking pixel graphics. But is the game surreal? Well, the lore is quite interesting, the visuals are debatable. Overall, it's a well polished game with a good lore. Disillusion is a game made by the creator with the same name in 2021. The game is also available on Steam. It's about an odd tower filled with odd characters in a lane you don't remember ever existed, almost like it's a dream. It's a first-person dungeon crawling RPG with an emphasis on interacting with characters around you, heavily inspired by games such as the LSD Dream Emulator, Eastern Mind, Lost Souls, which are two classics. What important is that the graphics are pixelated, it has good atmospheric music combined with weird things to see and explore. Frog Days. The year is 1995. Computer technology is advancing at a rapid pace, and the demand for personal computers has never been higher. Oh yes, we are diving into another wacky entry with this one. Your computer is special. Mysterious functionality allows you to explore virtual worlds hidden within the operating system. In every new piece of data you discover, there lie special clues to one of the best kept secrets of humankind, which is all connected to, you guessed it, an ancient alien conspiracy. It is such an interesting and quirky game. Sadly, this game is still in development if I'm correct, and hopefully we will see this game get released soon. February 2003. This was an ongoing project for more than 5 years, where you play as a ghost that got sucked into a calendar of February 2003. Now what's the deal with this game? Well, it's a compilation of games from various authors which compiled their games into this entry. There are crazy things to discover here, as you can guess. Also, the games were made in RPG Maker 2003. There are so many weird and wacky things to discover here. It was just a blast to playing this game, and I can't wait to go back and try out the other games. This is probably one of my favorite on this list on today's video, and you need to check it out. And I just love the cheerful soundtrack in the game. It really reminds me of Digimon World 3, if somebody remembers that game. I want to stop the other robot. The next game on this list is an Evolution mobile game. Again, when I clicked on it, it got blocked by my browser. I tried to do some digging around, but I couldn't find anything related to this entry, sadly. So I beg you guys, if you know something about this game, comment down below and share your knowledge. The uncle who works for Nintendo. You're 11 years old. You're sleeping over your best friend's house. You and your friend like both video games. Your friend has a lot of cool games. And believe it or not, his uncle works for Nintendo. As he's coming to visit you at midnight, you feel and see something strange. Well, this entry is a visual horror game that can be played in the browser, created by Stool. It's a quite bizarre story structured around the story about, well, the uncle who works for Nintendo. You choose your friend's name in the beginning and the adventure starts. Or better to say the sleepover. As the hours passes, you will hear and see bizarre things going on. You will need to play a few times to explore the different endings, and you can guess it, it's quite a bizarre game.
Central Station.
Central Station is a turn-based RPG with hand-painted enemies and a surreal atmosphere. What is a bit odd that the creator of the Iceberg chart scanned the media file and it says it's safe. So like, was I right about some entries on this list? Were they actually viruses? Oh well. So this game is filled with weird dialogue and strange ambient soundtrack. The battle system is very simple and mostly consists of you traveling between buildings to collect keys and progress. It does feature some weird stuff, definitely, but if it's worth your time, hard to tell.
Video game. Game information. Video games may cause brain damage. Play at your own demise.
That's a great start, don't you think? Some games on the list do have the tendency to try to be everything at once and can't settle for one direction. This is exactly why this apparently Xbox Classic game is now free and available on Steam. So it's based on many different games being thrown at you as you play as a cigarette smoking mushroom. I would tell you more things about the game, but I suffered a brain damage because of this game.
Death of Agnub.
An adventure awaits. Find the necessary equipment to neutralize an Agnob, a game made by Jake Clover. The game is definitely surreal, and I love how in the comment section even one stated that the creator was on mushrooms while making this game. The funny part is that the game actually features a lot of mushrooms for some reason, but it can also be disturbing sometimes, because you will need to squish bugs, but they will also try to tear you apart. The game features a hand-drawn style with a mix of pixel art and it's very colorful.
Dungeon Exit.
Is a narrative game. It was created in August 28, 2011. The game was created by Adam Dickinson, along with his friend Stefan, or Tekatematis. This game was in development for 48 hours. For the competition Ludum Dare. The site is down and the download link doesn't work for me. After I tried to do some research, some articles provided got me to some weird fake Windows site which was warning me about Trojan horses. So I risk it all here, I guess. The saddest part is, again, I didn't find anything to show you guys. The creator stated that the game was a short and narrative experience in a fantasy setting. I hope this will satisfy you.
Hellraiser.
I think this is the oldest game on this list yet. The game was released in 1984 in the UK, in two parts, Prelude and Final. Another rabbit hole right here. They could enter a competition in which they could earn a bejeweled 18-karat golden hair pendant featured on the cover. The prize was worth £30,000 at the time and would be awarded to the first winner of the game who would find a hidden location in the real world. There is a whole video which is 30 minutes long about a presentation which is dedicated to this game if you wanna dive in. It's a weird puzzle game, but I think the jewelry prize was the reason why this game is on the list.
Survive the Desert.
Another game by Adam Dickinson. And now he even states he wasn't satisfied with the game, mostly because he ran out of the time to make this game properly and he was learning the engine stencil. But the good part is, for whatever reason my Flash player doesn't work on this game, so I couldn't get it running. But if the creator states that the game is bad, perhaps it's a good thing to skip this entry.
Lab Serotonin Phobia
is a web puzzle game. Well, it's a whole website structured with a very cryptic infrastructure, and it seems quite fun to dig around. There are many games over here to explore from the browser. Games which are played with the hypertext markup language, to flash games, and also to downloadable games. There is even a game that lets you play like a body examiner, in which you need to decide how the person died. But the page is more structured like an ad to me. But never mind that. I mean, it's a very real site you need to check out. I mean, it's a rabbit hole in itself. But don't expect too much here.
The Midnight Station.
Now bear with me for this one. Imagine a top-down shooter. Add sprinkles of weird aspects, like for example the aesthetics of Earthbound's Moonside section, with that special eerie atmosphere. And to top it all off, ZX Spectrum's graphics. Ain't that a hell of a mix? The game is a twin-stick shooter horror RPG-like game. It's weird. I mean, that's why you're here. Also, you're something like a Medusa head for whatever reason, and it's a hard game to like, but it's interesting.
A Surreal Climb.
A Surreal Climb is a ladder adventure game that takes you on exploration on different worlds inspired by the painter Salvador Dali, developed by Leon Danlim. The game can be accessed directly from the Iceberg and played in the browser. Now the game is weird as hell. So the game has Atari style graphics and it doesn't have any sound for whatever reason. And you're a little white guy just climbing a ladder. After climbing the ladder, you wonder if the hassle is actually worth, because there isn't any end apparently. As you start questioning, is this all worth it? The things get a bit weird. I climbed to the top and it restarted the game. Maybe there is something hidden in the game and I didn't found it, but I don't know. Try it out for yourself.
Top Banana.
This entry is just amazing. Why, maybe you ask? Well, the creator stated that the game is actually a joke. Well, let's talk about Top Banana. It's a game for the Amiga if I'm correct, and the game makes very weird sounds every time you jump. I think the only reason why the game does this is to annoy you. You play a small girl with big eyes and you shoot hearts. You jump your way up and battle various things from machines to animals. The game isn't so good and I'm not quite sure if you will enjoy this game. But the game deserves some points in the surreal department. Yep, the game gets a bit weirder later on.
Maze Brew
is a game released for the Macintosh back in 1993. I know, we could make a whole iceberg about all the weird 90s game. And don't dare me to do it, because I will. But let's see what is Maze Brewer. First of all, it's a point-and-click adventure game. You wanna hear more? I know what to say, or what the hell is going on. You click on various things without any explanation, weird sounds appear that are totally out of place, and there isn't any music. Hard to tell if this game is worth checking out, but hey, maybe you find the weirdness somewhat likable.
A Big Bang.
Another banger. Do I really mean it? Of course not. The deeper we get, the games get from weirdly good to weirdly bad, and this one is bad. The game developer behind this game is Psycho Core, and it was released in 1995 on a 3.5-inch floppy. And if my facts are right, the same developers were behind Top Banana, so you know what to expect. Yes, a very weird platformer. The strange thing is, even if the game looks pretty cute at first, the game tends to get weirder. First of all, the background music could be ripped from some PlayStation 1 horror game. But the game has its fair share of psychedelic things going on. And I love how you jump, the head of the clown gets separated and winks at you. Yikes. Thanks to God I didn't get my hands on this in my childhood.
Beauty Within Its Flaws.
Its Flaws is a game about being ugly, weird, and bizarre, with its visuals, controls, abilities, and its possibilities. And sometimes it decides it doesn't want to be any of those things and just to be itself and do what it's want to do. A game made by Rosen Shadow. I tried to dig up more stuff about the game besides the few pictures I'm showing, but the file is contained with something that my browser didn't like. So if you have a plan to download this game, please double check it.
Ruder
Is a game about going to a party and having a psychedelic experience. So it's basically about tripping way too hard. It's a RPG Maker game from what I can tell. The game was made by Extinguisher Girl. The game looks very crude. It starts with you playing a girl with black hair and you're basically going to a party. And after sipping something, it starts to get weird, and despite being pretty simple, it feels very mysterious sometimes.
F-Head.
Do you know what's the meaning behind this name? Well, this is an experimental video game in which you play as an exploded head. Good, mature content, check. Does it get surreal? Well, it's set in a black and white landscape in a search for an anti-anxiety suppressant. Good, surreal, check. Maybe it has some mature themes? Well, yes, exactly. This is a game that can be seen as a interlude between sexual frustration and boredom. This experimental game was created by Jars. It has hand-driven graphics, things to censor, but let me tell you, this is a very strange game. I have that gut feeling that something sinister is hidden behind this game, but I don't know what. The game is a side platformer and it has houses in which upon you enter you need to avoid some flying things to collect pills. I didn't have patience to do them all, but maybe you will have it. But again, mature content warning.
Accludia.
The town where your dreams are mine. Accludia is a game made by DukeBot. You will be playing as basically Death, who delivers prescription drugs in severely locked down environments, where everyone tries to develop their self-being in their own way. The game has very pleasant and atmospheric music with acoustic guitar, and the whole atmosphere is creepy, but it feels somehow real and relatable. Don't get me wrong, the game is disturbing and it gets a bit unsettling at times. It's worth checking out if you can handle the themes of the game.
Boring in Paradise.
Was made by Timothy, and it combines two games, Anti-Pain and Anti-Trolley. There isn't too much to talk about this game, they're very bad I think. This is someone who just wants to troll some gamers I think. And collect a few bucks from Steam because it costs 99 cents. And from a huge written review on Steam, I don't think the game is even worth the 99 cents.
Black Room.
Black Room is a browser-based narrative game about falling asleep while you're on a computer and on the internet. I know, a weird concept, but it's real. Do not forget to mention, the game was made by Cassie McCutter. You play as an insomniac on the verge of sleep, moving through shifting states of consciousness. It sounds weird and interesting, but in reality, it really is. It's a quite interesting adventure to try out. I love the randomness of the game and the things you will encounter. It's weird, ominous, disturbing, but also funny at times. You wanna see this, trust me. Go play it, but after the video please.
Dujana.
It's a special game made by J. King Spooner. This game was based on how the creator's grandfather went to war, and when he finally came back, he was a changed man. He was dark, bitter and angry, and he even tried to hurt animals. Well, at least that's how the About section tells about the game. It's hard to describe the game. It tries to dive into deep themes, but occasionally it throws some jokes at you which are a bit out of the place. But if we put the story aside, we will find an atmospheric game with amazing looking clay animation, and it really stands out, and it's combined with a good soundtrack. And that's coming from me who actually hates clay animation. The game will dive into political themes which aren't everybody's cup of tea, just to mention it.
Karateka Voodoo.
Check this out, the game was in development since 1993. The game went to a 5-year development phase and then 4 years of adjustment. And what was the result? Well, Karateka Voodoo is a uncategorized Japanese adventure game with fully hand-drawn animation. Fight monsters and solve puzzles to cook dinner and save the family before the airplane crashes in their haunted mansion. And the story goes something like this. You're a hero with a sword and shield who by coincidence arrives just in the time to the haunted mansions before the plane is going to crash. It was occupied by a family, completely oblivious to the danger they are in. Other than that, well, are you looking at the footage? Take it or leave it. But I need to mention that the game has pretty good reviews overall.
Symptom demo.
Was made by Stefan Pinto. The game starts off quiet and lonely. It has that liminal atmosphere vibe to it, so to say. It starts with you in an office. It looks like an early 2000 game from its pixelated style, and it's played in the first person. As you explore the office, you will see it's quite boring and uninteresting. But before you know it, things start to change and the game gets a bit darker, and that is where the game actually shines. And the game does get quite disturbing, grotesque, but also creepy. Exactly how you like it. This is definitely a horror game if it wasn't clear, and I don't want to spoil too much. It has a bit Silent Hill vibes to it, at least from the monsters I would say. Let's move on.
Infinity.
Challenge your mind in a psychedelic genre of puzzles and meaningful encounters with time, poetry, memory, technology, war and fatality. This is a game by Barnacle. What can I say about this? It was released for the Nintendo Switch, and we didn't see that often on this list. You will play as Hope, and the game is totally abstract. It is an adventure/puzzle game where you navigate through screens to find the loophole to find the way to the other screen to progress further. It's a weird concept, but after you start playing it, it makes a lot of sense. It's definitely surreal and it has good puzzles in it.
Internal Gomez Games.
This is a game creator behind a game we already talked about and had some problems with downloading it. The game was called 14/??, but this creator made also Neftalia and a few more games you wanna perhaps check out. So if you have some spare time, check out his page and maybe you find something that suits you.
Rupture. Spin-off.
We have another RPG Maker game on the list created by Omnipene. So before we start to talk about this, the creator stated, this is a fan-based game on Mortis Ghost Off, and to get the most out of the game you should first play Off. The story goes something like this. After the world was purified by a batter, the space apes have been busy planning a devastating plan and all of the zones are gone. Instead, the tower stands in nothingness, looming menacingly for all to see. You play as Rian, a boxing superhero on a mission to destroy the tower and save the world. Questions like, what is the purpose of the tower? What happened to the survivors and the victors of Better's crusade? And just, where is Better anyway? Are hidden in the lore of this game, so you can check it out. Sadly, as far as I have seen it, it's an ongoing project, which is not complete yet, I think.
Hell.
This is quite simple. Hell is a short point-and-click walking simulator. It can be beaten in less than 5 minutes. Made by Achtino Flume. It's a game that looks like some very early PC game with a simple black and white art style, but it really looks clean. It features a creepy and mysterious atmosphere, and I mean, come on, the game is only 5 minutes. You really wanna hear some more spoilers? Let's jump to the next one.
Mixing Woods.
This is a dream walker and it came with a warning to be careful while downloading it. Well, how in hell should I do that? But anyway, it's quite simple. Or you download the game or you don't download the game. But it was a link from a Google Drive and I really don't wanna catch any viruses. But I found some footage of the game so we can talk about it. So, the game was made by Ben Valley. And I found myself in the same spot where I need to describe some hot mess. Well, it's obviously played in the first person. It has some weird echoing sound effects sounding like almost like Jar Jar Binks for whatever reason. You will walk into pictures and you will find yourself in different environments. So, you want a weird? Here you have it. And we covered the first half of the layer 6. We had some really bangers on this list. And we have a few more entries to go. This is quite a ride, and it's definitely the biggest project on my channel yet. And I'm so thankful for all you guys tuning in and commenting. It is just amazing. We are really building a small community here. With this video done, I'm already playing next project after this Iceberg, and I hope you will like what I'm preparing for you. If you didn't, please consider smashing that like button and subscribing. And that's all from me now, and I will see you in the next one. Snorky over and out.